All right, sweet. All right. My name is Roy Swivl. I work with Dr. Fontanier, and my project is we're doing investigations into water use rates and drought resistance of turf grass under shaded conditions. So right here, I have some of the data I took this week, which is my first full week of taking data where I can actually see changes. And so right here, you guys really don't know what you're looking at, but I do. So each 100 is my first data collection, and then 200 is the second part of that collection, 300 is the third, and the 400 is the last one. So when I do data collection, I have little tubes in our plots, and I stick a probe into them, and I read the data. And on one data reading, it'll give me these four numbers. And so 1, 2, and 3, those are three separate plots. Or I actually take it back. These are all one plot because I do 3 readings on each plot. So each reading will give me these different numbers. And so right here, the percent volume is how much water, I guess, is in the soil or its holding capacity, which is the max amount of water, moisture that can be in soil. And so this is the first day, which would be closer to when it had last rain, so it's at 28.4 the first, and then it dropped to 27.2. And then the second one, it's 29. As it gets deeper into the soil, it gets wetter. And then you can see on the second one, another 27, so it keeps dropping. And that seems to be pretty consistent throughout all my readings. Throughout all my readings. And then right here, I have different pictures of the same plot. You really can't see a difference, but this is a little more green. It had just rained. This is a little more yellow and stuff, and I had just mowed. And so the reason why we're doing this project is because a lot of lawns and golf courses have issues with keeping turf grass alive under shade. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out which genotypes or varieties of grasses will do the best under shade conditions. And I have 12 different varieties. I have 11 which are only zoysia grasses, which is a warm season grass. It's usually grown in the transition zone. So Oklahoma isn't north, isn't south, so we lay in the transition zone. And we have one Bermuda grass, which is called Celebration. It's by itself, so we get to talk about its name. And it's supposed to be a more shade-tolerant Bermuda, but most Bermudas are also warm season grass. They're very drought-tolerant, so they're grown more in the southern part of the transition zone, but they typically don't do as well as zoysia grasses do in shade. And while I'm doing this, I have 54 plots, and I have them set up where 12 are under shade, 6 are in the sun, 12 are under the shade, 6 in the sun, and then shade and then sun again. And that way we get consistency with everything, and we're able to see different things in different ways. And so this entire time I'm mowing, I'm doing a fertilizer and a herbicide, and then I'm doing a glyphosate or a Roundup in my borders to keep everything contained to where it needs to grow. Because Bermuda, whenever you're trying to grow things near or around Bermuda, becomes one of the worst weeds ever, and it will try to take everything over. But it's a very nice grass. So that's pretty much it. I talked a lot, so do you guys have any questions?
Why do you put 12 in the shade and then 6 in the sun? Why don't you do 12 in the shade and 12 in the sun?
Well, because we're trying to get more numbers in the shade, and so we're putting more in the shade, and then we have 6 in the sun, so that every 6 plots or every sun plot will have the same stuff that's in the shade. And so we're trying to get more numbers in the shade so we can track it longer and a little bit better. What's up, Guthrie?
How many different types of varieties of grass do you have?
12 total, so 11 zoysia, 1 Bermuda.
How often do you fertilize?
About bi-weekly, or more when less when it's needed. And so I did it pretty early on in my projects because of all the rain and stuff, and I was trying to bring the project back to a full life again so that we can get our consistency going. Did you have a question? Yeah. Yeah. Did you have your hand raised now? Okay. Yes, sir?
You said this chart shows soil moisture percent?
Yeah.
What's it telling you?
So
what good is it?
So why we're doing this, and it's water use rate, so we're trying to see how much water the grasses are using versus shade and sun. So if it's under the shade, is it going to use less or more water? And then the sun, is it going to use more or less? And so that's why we take these numbers. I have 2 different tools that I use to do it. I have the probe, which goes so far into the ground, and then I have a pogo, which the probe misses about that much of the soil, and so my other device will pick up the rest of that, and that'll tell me pretty much the top soil layer. I don't have that on here, but that tells me that percentage and everything like that. So I'm using a lot of like precision ag tools and techniques to get more precise numbers. Any other questions?
What other things are you looking at besides soil moisture?
So I'm looking at so whenever I take these photos, I'm comparing the green and how well the grass looks aesthetically, because that's why we have lawns, and that's why golf courses want to have the best looking greens, and so because it looks good. So I use a scanner, which is called a rapid scan, and what it checks is NDVI, which is normalized difference vegetation index. Basically, that's telling me how healthy the grass is, how green it is, different things like that. So I'm using that. And then I use something called the INTEP grading system, which is basically how I grade the grass on a scale of 1 to 9, 1 being the worst, 9 being the best. And then there we have 6, which is the last most acceptable grass. So like 6 to 9 is your acceptable grasses. Those are okay to grow. But 5 and below, you're always wanting to improve those grasses to get to that 6 and 9 range. And so I use that, that's a personal thing that I grade. And then like my professor may grade it different, and we compare and see where they lie. And the reason why we use INTEP is because different universities, golf courses and things like that, they'll look at how other people graded that same grass there to see if they want to use it on their course. And it's more of an aesthetically grade, I guess, how good it looks.
What are things that
I do not remember off the top of my head.
National Turf Grass Evaluation Program?
I believe so. That sounds right. Is there any other questions? Comments, concerns? All right. Thank you, guys.